The fastest way to lose your authority in a global meeting is pretending to be someone you are not, specifically trying to fake a native accent.
Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to meet you. Sarah, I give up. I've been practicing my New York accent all morning, and I just feel disconnected.
Because you are disconnected, Mark, you are so focused on the sound that you've lost the message. And trust me, the board can feel that hesitation.
So, you're saying my natural accent isn't the problem? It's my obsession with changing it?
Exactly. In this video, we are going to transform your business English into easy, powerful English. We'll show you why your accent is your strength, how to master authority intonation, and 5 real-life scenarios that will make you sound like a leader no matter where you were born. By the end of this talk, you'll never feel less than in a meeting again. Welcome to Business English for Success. I'm Sarah, and I'm here with Mark. Before we fix how you sound, we need to fix how you think about your accent. Let's start with a hard truth. Global business doesn't run on British or American accents. It runs on clarity.
That's a huge relief. But I always felt that if I didn't sound like I was from London, I wouldn't be taken seriously.
Think of it this way, Mark. Your accent is your identity. It's like a unique spice in a dish. But pronunciation, that's the recipe. You can have the best spice, but if you get the recipe wrong, nobody can eat the food.
So I keep my spice, but I follow the recipe.
Precisely. If you say tree when you mean 3, people get confused. That is a pronunciation error. But if you say 3 clearly with your natural accent, everyone understands. That is international English.
I see. So the lesson here is accuracy matters, but imitation is a trap. But Sarah, how do I sound important if I'm not using a native melody?
That is the perfect question. Stay with us, because in a moment, I'll show you what actually goes wrong in real life when smart professionals try to sound impressive and lose control. We're moving straight into our first scenario.
But first, we've all been there. Have you ever practiced an accent alone in your room before a big call? Don't be shy. Type I have in the comments. We're all in this together.
Now that we've fixed our mindset, let's look at a situation many of you face, the high-stakes presentation.
I have a personal story about this. Last year, I presented a strategy to a global board. I spent the whole week watching Hollywood movies to mimic their tone.
And let me guess, you were so busy acting that you forgot the data?
Exactly. I was so worried about my R's and T's that when a director asked me a simple question, my mind went blank. I looked hesitant. My confidence was gone.
This is the presentation breakdown. You weren't using your brain for the strategy, you were using it for a performance. Let's redo that moment right now. Forget the accent, focus on word stress.
Okay, how do I do that?
In business English, we emphasize the power words. Listen to the difference. I think we should do this versus I strongly recommend this strategy.
I strongly recommend this strategy. Wow, that felt completely different. I felt in control.
You were in control. That's because you used authority intonation, lowering your pitch at the end of the sentence. You didn't sound American, Mark. You sounded professional.
That one shift in energy changes everything. But Sarah, what if the room gets loud and fast? What if I start panicking in a debate?
That is exactly what we are covering next, the power of the pause. Trust me, this one technique can save your reputation in front of your boss when your mind goes blank. Don't go anywhere.
Now, before we move to our next scenario, let's address a fear that every professional has. The fear of your mind going blank when a colleague asks a tough question.
That's exactly it, Sarah. When that happens, I start talking too fast to hide my nervousness, and my accent gets thicker and harder to understand.
Mark, Listen carefully. Speed is the enemy of authority. In the global corporate world, talking fast often signals anxiety, but silence signals power.
Silence? But if I stay silent, won't they think I'm confused or that I don't know the answer?
Not if you use the strategic pause. Instead of filling the air with and while you struggle with your sounds, try this. Receive the question, look the person in the eye, and just breathe.
I just tried it. It actually feels like I'm taking control of the entire room.
Exactly. It's what we call easy professionalism. When you pause, you give yourself time to choose your power words. It shows you are a leader considering a point, not a student performing an accent.
So the big takeaway from this section is silence is not a gap, it's a tool.
Perfectly said. But stay tuned, because what we're about to discuss next is the most stressful situation of all, the fast-paced team debate. I'll show you how to dominate the conversation without saying a word more than necessary.
We've learned to pause. Now, let's apply that to a room where everyone is talking over each other at high speed.
This reminds me of a personal story. Last month, I had a great idea in a project meeting, but the native speakers were going so fast. I was too afraid my accent would make me sound unclear, so I stayed quiet.
And let me guess, someone else took credit for your idea?
Yes. I felt like I was invisible just because I couldn't match their native rhythm.
Mark, here is the secret to authority. You don't need to match their speed. You need to change the rhythm of the room. When everyone else is speaking fast and high-pitched, you go lower and slower.
Lower and slower? Won't I sound boring or lose their attention?
Quite the opposite. It makes you sound like the adult in the room. Try this phrase next time. That's an interesting point. Let me add another perspective to that.
Try that's an interesting point. Let me add another perspective to that. Wow, the energy of my voice felt much heavier. I felt like they had to stop and listen.
That's the authority intonation. You used your natural accent as a strength. It made your voice stand out in the noise because you controlled the pace.
This is a total game changer for my confidence. But Sarah, what about after the meeting? What about networking, where things are less formal? That's where the "where are you from" question always makes me feel like an outsider.
That is a great point, Mark. In a moment, we'll show you how to turn that outsider feeling into a networking magnet. We'll teach you how to handle that question with so much authority that people will want to do business with you immediately. Don't go away. Mark, let's talk about the social side of business, networking. This is usually where the accent bias hits the hardest because the environment is less formal.
Exactly, Sarah. Whenever I'm at a conference and someone asks, "So, where is that interesting accent from?" I suddenly feel like I'm back in English class. I feel like an outsider instead of a business partner.
Most people see that question as a barrier, but a leader sees it as an opening. Your accent is a conversation starter. It's proof that you are global, bilingual, and adaptable.
I never thought of it that way. I usually just give a short answer and try to change the subject as fast as I can.
That's a missed opportunity. Here is the authority shift. Instead of being shy, embrace the personal story technique. When they ask about your accent, answer with pride and immediately link it to your professional value.
Can you give me an example of how that sounds in a real conversation?
Sure, try this. I'm originally from Thailand, which gives me a unique perspective on the emerging markets in Asia. We're actually seeing some incredible growth there right now. See, you just turned a question about your sounds into a statement about your expertise.
Wow, I just moved from being the guy with an accent to the expert on Asian markets. That feels incredibly empowering.
If you remember just one thing from this part, it's this. Your accent isn't a shadow to hide, it's a lighthouse that shows your global experience.
A lighthouse. I love that. But Sarah, what happens when networking turns into a tough work conversation? Like when someone uses your accent as an excuse to avoid your feedback?
That is a very common challenge. Stay with us, because next, we're going to look at the clarity check, the ultimate way to handle misunderstandings without ever apologizing for your voice. This could be the most important part for your next team meeting. Now that we know how to turn our accent into an asset, let's go back into the office. Let's talk about handling those awkward moments where people claim they don't understand you.
This is a big one. What about when you're giving feedback to a team member and they say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't quite catch that," just to avoid the topic?
This is a subtle challenge to your authority. In business English, we handle this with the clarity check. You don't apologize for your voice. You focus on the alignment of the message.
So I shouldn't say, "Sorry, my English is bad."
Never. Never apologize for a language you are successfully using to run a business. Instead, you say, "I want to ensure we are perfectly aligned on this. Let me summarize the key expectations one more time."
Let me summarize the key expectations one more time. It sounds like I'm being helpful, not defensive.
Exactly. And here is the advanced tip. Use visual anchors. If you're in a meeting, refer to a slide or a document. Say, as you can see on point number 3, this removes the focus from your accent and puts it on the data.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. Authority isn't about sounding like you were born in New York. It's about being so clear and so confident that the accent becomes secondary.
You've got it, Mark. You are mastering the international mindset. But wait until you hear what's coming next. We're going to look at the vocabulary of authority. I'll show you why big words are actually your enemy and how simple language can make you sound like a CEO. You won't want to miss these specific action verbs. Mark, we've fixed your mindset and your intonation. Now, let's look at your toolbox. Many professionals think that to overcome their accent, they need to use big, complex words to sound smart.
Guilty as charged. I used to spend hours looking for sophisticated synonyms in the dictionary. I thought using words like nevertheless or subsequently would make me sound more British.
In reality, the most powerful leaders in global business use the simplest language. Why? Because simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. It shows you have total control over the topic.
So I should stop trying to sound like a textbook?
Exactly. In easy business English, we use action verbs. Instead of saying, "We are currently in the process of implementing a new methodology," just say, "We are transforming our process."
Transforming. You're right. I don't have to struggle with long, clunky syllables. I can focus on the punchy ones.
If you remember just one thing from this part, it's this. Don't use big words to hide your accent. Use clear words to highlight your vision. When you speak simply, your logic becomes undeniable.
That is a huge weight off my shoulders. But Sarah, what about the most high-pressure room of all? How do I use this simple authority when I'm speaking directly to a global director or the CEO?
That is the ultimate test, Mark. Stay with us because next I'm going to share the bottom line up front technique. This is the exact method senior leaders use to communicate, and it has nothing to do with sounding native. Let's take everything we've learned and apply it to the top level of the company. Let's talk about managing up.
This is where my confidence sometimes fades. I start worrying that a global director will think my English isn't executive level.
This is a very common personal story for many of our students. But here is a secret. Senior leaders don't have time for perfection. They only care about impact.
Impact. So they aren't checking my grammar or my R sounds.
Not at all. They're checking your conclusion. Next time you speak to a senior stakeholder, use the bottom line upfront technique. Start with the result, use your natural voice, and keep your intonation steady.
Let me try that. The bottom line is, this project will increase our efficiency by 15%.
Beautiful! Did you notice? Your accent was there, but it didn't matter. The only thing that director heard was 15% efficiency. You sounded like a partner, not a student.
I felt it too. It's like I finally became a business professional instead of an English learner.
We are reaching the final parts of our journey. Mark just used a very powerful phrase, the bottom line is. We want to know, what is the one word or phrase from today's video that made you feel more confident? Write it down in the comments below.
I can't wait to see your authority words. But Sarah, we have one more challenge. How do we keep this confidence alive when we have a bad day? We need to talk about the mental resilience to stay global every single day.
Mark, we've covered a lot of technical tools today, but even with the best techniques, there will be days when you feel a bit tired and your fluency isn't where you want it to be. How do you handle those moments?
I'll be honest, Sarah. On those days, the old accent bias tries to come back. I start thinking, maybe I should just stay quiet today so I don't make a mistake or sound unclear.
That is exactly when you need mental resilience. Remember, the goal of business English isn't perfection, it's contribution. Your colleagues aren't waiting for a perfect British accent. They are waiting for your unique ideas.
So I should focus on the value I bring to the table rather than the sounds I make?
Exactly. When you walk into a room, tell yourself, I am here because my expertise is needed. When you walk into a room, tell yourself, I am here because my expertise is needed. Your accent is just the vehicle for your wisdom. If the vehicle has a different style than the others, it doesn't mean it can't deliver the goods.
I love that. It's about switching from a learning mindset, where I'm always being judged, to a leading mindset, where I am providing solutions.
If you remember just one thing from this part, it's this. Your worth in a meeting is measured by the quality of your ideas, not the shape of your vowels. Now, to make sure this confidence stays with you every day, let's build a simple routine.
Yes, I need something practical. How do I make sure this authority sticks when I'm not talking to you, Sarah?
You need a daily authority routine. It only takes 5 minutes. First, practice the strategic pause while you're making your morning coffee. Second, choose one action verb for your meetings, like transform or execute.
And what about practicing the voice itself?
Record yourself for 60 seconds. Don't listen for mistakes, listen for clarity and intonation. Ask yourself, did I sound like a partner or a student? If you sounded clear, you've won. Consistency is what builds authority, Mark.
I'm starting that tomorrow. Actually, I'm starting right now. I feel more prepared for my next global call than I ever have before, and I'm doing it with my own voice.
We are so proud of you for staying with us until the end of this journey. Today, we broke the accent bias together. We moved from trying to be native to being an authority.
It's been an incredible shift for me, Sarah. I've realized that easy business English is about being yourself, but with more clarity, more pause, and much more punch.
Precisely. Your voice is a bridge, not a barrier. Use it to lead, use it to inspire, and use it to build the international career you deserve.
If you found today's discussion valuable, please don't forget to subscribe to Business English for Success. We release these deep dive conversations to help you navigate the corporate world with total ease.
And remember to check the comments to see the authority words shared by your fellow professionals. Choose one and use it tomorrow. Until next time, speak with clarity, lead with confidence, and stay global.
See you in the next one. Bye for now.
Goodbye, everyone.